Well, I finally bit the bullet, and yep, I watched it, so let's talk about it.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hey travelers, welcome back to Roberto's Room. Before we get started though, I just want to say thank you so very much to all the love that was shown to my last two videos of me fixing phases 4 and 5, really the whole multiversal saga. And I'm so thankful, so very thankful for all of the views and all of the new subscribers. Welcome to all of y'all, and thank you so much for tuning out to those videos. I've got more like them coming, so stay tuned. I'm going to be tackling the DC universe next, and this time I'm really going to be just making it whole cloth, so it's going to be kind of different, but I am excited. Got a lot of exciting videos coming for y'all, so thank y'all so much for joining the channel. I am really glad that you're here, and so many new subscribers. Welcome to all of y'all. Thank you again so much for subscribing to the channel, and I'm so glad that you're here. So yes, we are talking about Captain America: Brave New World. Now, I do know that there has been a lot of talk about this movie, especially on YouTube, and yes, I have watched a lot of breakdowns, a lot of different things, and I have seen the marketing, I've seen everything around this movie, but I saw that it was finally available on Disney Plus. I have not seen this movie yet, and I thought, you know what? Let me try to kind of just empty my mind of all of the criticism, all of the negativity surrounding this movie, and give it a fair shot. Let's see what this movie has to offer. And I sat down last night and I started to watch it. And I have to say that probably 10 minutes in, I had to get my notepad out and start to write because, yikes. Now, this movie is not without merit. I will say this. I think that a lot of this movie is lifted on the back of Isaiah Bradley, played remarkably, just incredibly well by Carl Lumbly, who definitely shows you that he's got the super soldier serum because he is working overtime with carrying this movie. Every time he was on screen, it was nice, it was great, it was fresh, and that is, I think, the greatest downfall of this movie. As much as it wants to be something else, I mean, it's called Brave New World. You would expect a movie called Brave New World to be something brave and new. It is really just a hodgepodge of nothing but retreads of the old Captain America movies' greatest hits. I mean, beat for beat, line by line, scene by scene, just kind of cobbled together, mix in some Hulk in there, and it really doesn't have its own identity, which really stinks because this movie could have used some of its own identity. I actually touched on this when I made my Phase 4 video, which you can definitely check out. I'll leave a link in the comments below because you can definitely check that out there. And I broke down exactly how I would make this movie. Now, I did that before even watching this film, but I knew enough about it to know what went on. And I have to say, all of the critiques that I leveled at the movie, even before seeing it, were true. And again, I tried to give this movie a fair shot. I really did, but there are so many things in this movie that just don't work, and it just comes down to the fact that for all the 5 writers that this movie had, it just feels like, again, this is the old Captain America movie's greatest hits. They are especially in love with Winter Soldier, which seems to be getting the most copy paint by numbers treatment, but they do also take some scenes from Civil War and really rob Sam Wilson of his own identity, which is what he needed. Sam Wilson needed a movie where you knew he was the new Captain America. There was a reason why he's not taking the serum, and again, I touched on this a lot in my Phase 4 video, but this movie needed that, and it needed that because this is the guy that's supposed to be leading the Avengers moving forward. This is the guy that's going to be leading the Avengers against Doctor Doom in Secret Wars. So you really need a movie to establish him, and I think that honestly one of the greatest things that this movie has taken from it is the fact that there was a Winter Soldier and Falcon show years before that probably none of y'all saw. If y'all did, y'all forgot it by now. And a lot of the things that were dealt with in this movie, Brave New World, were dealt with already on that show. So a lot of the real emotional beats, he's already done it. It feels redundant, and it honestly feels worse here in Brave New World than it did in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It just doesn't work. And the reason, again, why it doesn't work is they really just want to give you Captain America's greatest hits. And it starts at the beginning of the film. I mean, the beginning of the film is almost shot for shot the beginning of Winter Soldier. The only difference is, instead of Batroc and his mercenaries, we are dealing with Serpent, which again was a whole wasted opportunity. You have poor Giancarlo Esposito, this old man who is a great actor, but you have him doing action scenes that definitely he doesn't have the super soldier serum to do. And it feels lazy. All the scenes with him feel lazy because, of course, he is one of your biggest actors in this movie who really doesn't do much, and it really is a disservice to Giancarlo Esposito as an actor because he really is forgettable in this movie because everything they wrote for him was just, again, more scenes that we've already seen before in prior movies, just with him in it. You get a copy of a mix between the Nick Fury gets attacked by Winter Soldier scene mixed with the highway fight scene between Captain America and Winter Soldier, hodgepodge together with Giancarlo and Sam Wilson fighting together. It reeks of just cloying, needy, I want you to like us energy that Marvel is not known for. Marvel is known for taking risks, and the two movies that it emulates are the greatest examples of Marvel at its peak. But instead of continuing to innovate and doing something new, doing something that fits this character that has gone out of its way to say, I am not taking the super soldier serum, I am going to have a different legacy than Steve Rogers. What they do is instead, no, we're going to put you in the same box of Steve Rogers as Captain America, but we're not going to give you the super soldier serum. So everything you're doing in this movie, even though you have vibranium, honestly, with any person that has not taken either the heart-shaped herb or the super soldier serum, even if you have vibranium suits, your body inside that vibranium suit would easily be powder. There is a lot of things, starting from the very first landing that Sam Wilson does in this movie, that this man would have been powder, bone powder in this suit, because he does not have the super soldier serum to be able to give him that advanced durability that both Black Panther and Captain America had. And that is the greatest downfall, is this movie doesn't know if it wants to be a super soldier or not be a super soldier, and the power scaling is all over the place. And then not even mentioning when we get to poor Hulk, and I love the Hulk scenes. I think the Red Hulk scenes were some of the most epic Hulk action we've seen in the MCU in a long time, and not just Hulk typing on a computer or Mark Ruffalo's face on Hulk just, oh, I'm smart Hulk now. We actually get some great Hulk action in this movie, but again, because you're stuck with this guy that's in a tin can and doesn't have advanced durability and is just taking blow by blow from Hulk, you're like, yeah, this man would be dead. Sam Wilson would be dead. He would not survive Brave New World. The Brave New World would be him in a coffin, because he would not be alive at the end of this movie with how many hits he has to tank from the Hulk. And again, I know the vibranium suit is a thing, but there's still a human body in there, and physics don't lie. So at least with Black Panther, with Captain America, even with Bucky, you could suspend your disbelief because you know, okay, they've taken the super soldier serum, gives them advanced durability, gives them advanced strength. There is none of that here. And it really just, again, it just reeks of I want you to like me energy, and that's not Marvel. I think we need to demand more from Marvel. And I'm sorry, Five Writers,
you've got to do better.
Because honestly, what this movie is just another example of how the MCU needs to stop and retool for a long time, because it has run out of ideas. And it's sad to think, because they have such a rich pantheon of comics to draw from, but they're insisting on drawing from the issues that no one really cared about. I'm sorry, but Falcon isn't that interesting as Captain America, and he could be, and they could do something great with him. And I actually like him as a person. I loved him as Falcon, but they don't lean into the things that make him Falcon, and instead just want him to be Steve Rogers light. Like, for instance, I know that he was a person that dealt a lot with grief and was a counselor. And they kind of lean into that in some of the moments in this movie. The moments that lean into that are the greatest parts of this movie. I think, honestly, from the Hulk, Thunderbolt Ross hulking out, and again, that's not a spoiler because you've seen it all over the trailers because Marvel doesn't know how to hide stuff anymore in the trailers. From the point where Harrison Ford hulks out to the end of the movie is some of the best parts of this movie. The characters are able to breathe. Even Joaquin Phoenix, who this whole movie is just an insufferable comic relief character with just, like I am the comic relief. They should have just plastered that on his forehead, like damaged on Jared Leto's Joker's forehead. I'm telling you, it's insufferable, and it stinks because this is supposed to be your new Falcon. This is supposed to be like the new guy, and it just is terrible. The only time that both him and Sam Wilson really behave like normal human beings is the last 5 minutes of the movie where Joaquin Phoenix is in a hospital bed recovering from an accident that he had in this movie, and they're given a chance to talk. That was the greatest part of this movie, to be honest with you. That and the Hulk scenes, best part of this movie. The rest of this movie is forgettable garbage that is just retread, recycled, greatest hits from the MCU. It doesn't do anything new. And this is a character that desperately needed his own identity, and Marvel has failed him. Marvel has failed him. I don't honestly believe he can lead the Avengers after this movie. He doesn't have the charisma. He doesn't have the oomph. And it's nothing against Sam Wilson as a character. It's more to do with what this movie is in concept, which is just a lazy retread of Captain America's greatest hits without its own identity. So many missed opportunities, and again, I went over a lot of the missed opportunities in my Phase 4 breakdown, which you can definitely go check out. I don't want to retread them here just because you can go and watch them there, but there are so many missed opportunities in this. Like I said, Carl Lumbly and Harrison Ford honestly turns out a really good performance. I thought he was cool, but Harrison Ford has gotten into that place. I think another YouTuber put it best when they called him the Pedro Pascal of grumpy old men, because he just seems to be playing the same character over and over and over again. His Han Solo is no different than he played as Indiana Jones in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Forgettability. His Thunderbolt Ross honestly felt no different, and for a Thunderbolt Ross that's supposed to be kind of toned back and more on the I'm trying to be more understanding and cuddly Thunderbolt Ross.
Cute and cuddly, boys. Cute and cuddly.
He ends up being a lot more mean, and that's just the energy that Harrison Ford brings to the character. Nothing against Harrison Ford. I think he did a phenomenal job with what he was given, but just his way of acting, it just seems like he is just mad every single time he is on the screen. And I guess you could kind of justify that because, of course, he turns into Red Hulk, so the whole movie is kind of him in his pent-up anger just rising and rising. But really, for a character that was supposed to be a character that is trying to turn away from the Hulk Hunter days, as they called him in the movie, he really feels meaner here than William Hurt ever played him, who, again, we know that Harrison Ford replaced the great William Hurt, who passed away, as Thunderbolt Ross. Really, honestly, having thought about that, I really would have enjoyed to see William Hurt play him in this and actually turn into Red Hulk. I think he would have played it a lot more sincerely, because every time I see Thunderbolt Ross again in Civil War or in Incredible Hulk, it was a very sincere performance that I bought. And Harrison Ford here just, again, there's a lot of meanness to his character. Another character that's in this movie is Ruth Batsaroff, which is supposed to be its own character called Sabra, which I guess with all the rewrites and reshoots and redos this movie went through, she was supposed to be Sabra, which is, I think, a mutant. But here they make her a Black Widow, which, again, you have this little petite, I'm guessing she's got to be 5 feet tall or 4 foot something. She's taking down these 6 foot men, and I mean, when Scarlett Johansson did it, I bought it. But you have this little person, not Peter Dinklage, that is taking down these guys, and it just feels nonsensical. Not only that, there's a fight scene with the same sticks that Steve Rogers had a problem with, and the elevator from Winter Soldier. And Sam Wilson's just able to take the hits like Steve Rogers did, but I'm sorry, I thought he didn't have the serum. So yeah, that's suspicious. Again, just the movie doesn't know what it wants to be, and that is the greatest disservice of the movie as a whole. The last thing I want to mention about this movie is the whole movie's built around as this great mystery, and that's where I think it borrows the greatest from both Winter Soldier and Civil War, in that there's this mystery of who's pulling the strings in this movie. And of course, they just give it away 40 minutes in. If you've seen The Incredible Hulk, you know who this character is, Samuel Stearns, the leader. And they don't even hide him. They don't do anything tricky with the camera work to hide who the big bad villain is of this movie. They just show him 40 minutes in. And then later on, they have scenes of him more shrouded in darkness, as if we haven't seen his face already 20 minutes ago.
Why? 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 Oh!
It just takes away, deflates the tension of this movie, because you already know who the villain is, and so there's really no surprise. And with him as the villain, you know, okay, something's gonna happen with Hulk, even if you haven't seen all the trailers with Red Hulk just plastered everywhere. This movie could be summed up as two things. Number one, it is a tired, ridiculous retread of two of the greatest MCU movies ever made, and it comes off as a lazy attempt to recapture the glory days. And number two, it is an exercise in wasted opportunities. From Serpent, I did a whole breakdown of what I think that they should have done with Serpent and the whole Japan conflict in this movie over in the Phase 4 video, which you can definitely check out, to the fact that this entire movie, like I said, it should have been really a exploration of what does it mean to be Captain America, but without the serum. And Carl Lumbly should have played a lot more in this movie. Instead, they put him in prison for most of the runtime, and I feel like his presence in this movie would have done a lot more for it, as every time he's on the screen, he is electric, and I love his character. But this movie is just an exercise in wasted opportunity after wasted opportunity, because again, instead of doing something new and fresh and exciting and brave, they actually want to instead just remind you of, oh look, but you remember this, and prey on your nostalgia like you're a little kid instead of an adult. And again, I guess, okay, little kids might like this movie, but anybody that is especially a comic book fan that wanted something fresh, wanted something new from this brave new world, I'm sorry, but all you're gonna get is the same tired, old nostalgia that I think we're getting tired of. I think Deadpool and Wolverine did it well, but this was just lazy, and you could smell it. I mean, Deadpool even said it.
Well, that's just lazy writing.
And I think that phrase rings truer nowhere else but Brave New World. So what did you think about this movie? Comment below, let me know. Like I said, I really wanted to like this movie, and there are things about this movie that I like, which makes it so just infuriating, because this movie could have been great, and instead it falls short for all the reasons that I mentioned. But if you liked it, let me know why, and let me know what you would have done different as well. Check out the Phase 4 video, especially that portion dealing with Brave New World, because I think that a lot of the things that I did to change that movie, I think would have done a lot better for it, and it would have made a stronger film. Please drop a comment as well, and if you would, please subscribe. If you're subscribed, make sure you click on that notification bell so you can know when we're dropping even more videos. I've got more videos coming up. I've got a whole DC universe I'm creating, and I've got some more videos planned for you, so stick around, stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining me, travelers, on this video, and as always, go with grace.